There are few things in this world more powerful than a child with a dream. And in this week's On the Road, CBS's Steve Hartman shows us how a group of Minnesota school kids used their dream to help their fellow classmates.
At Glen Lake Elementary in Hopkins, Minnesota, recess is a mixed blessing. On the one hand, there's so much to do. But on the other hand, not everyone can do it.
It just didn't seem fair that some kids were just left out.
And it's really sad to see other kids go through that.
They didn't look happy, and recess is about having fun.
Glen Lake has a lot of students with physical disabilities, but no wheelchair merry-go-round, swings, or any adaptive playground equipment whatsoever.
Come on in.
Which really bothered the kids in Betsy Julian's 5th grade class, to the point where one day they asked her, why can't we just buy the equipment ourselves?
I said, do you know how much that costs?
Yeah.
It costs a lot of money. $300,000.
$300,000 by her estimation. But the kids were undeterred. They started collecting spare change, then held a bake sale, printed flyers, and went door to door. Then they began cold calling businesses and even got restaurants to donate a portion of their profits. This went on for months, until last week, when they hit their goal.
We were all very happy on the inside and on the outside.
The smile on my face, I could say, was an ear-to-ear smile.
I was just really happy that we made it.
Reese Riley says they worked so hard. It was overwhelming to finally know a more inclusive playground would be coming.
You're a good kid.
Thanks.
And as for the kids who'll benefit, they seem to appreciate the effort almost more than the result.
First time I set foot on this playground, I'm probably gonna start crying. From seeing the effort that all the school has made.
Mrs. Julian couldn't agree more.
My future as an adult is bright, knowing that this generation of students, of change makers, see something that needs fixing, and they go for it head first. The whole thing.
Head first and dive deep.
What's our next step?
After raising the $300,000, Mrs. Julian's class set a new goal, to the ceiling and beyond. They now hope to buy adaptive playground equipment for other schools in the district, turning loneliness and isolation into child's play.
There we go.
Steve Hartman, On the Road, in Hopkins, Minnesota. You can see why someone might hate being a school bus driver. The early hours, when the weather sours, the abundance of responsibility combined with the absence of eyes in the back of your head.
Y'all have a good day.
Nevertheless, as we first reported last May, Curtis Jenkins loves delivering these little ones to Lake Highlands Elementary in Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
Emily Grunninger is the principal.
He goes way beyond the outlined responsibilities and duties of a bus driver. I mean, that bus is like a family.
These are my children. These are my community. I love them all.
To establish community,
what's your job, man?
He starts by giving everyone responsibility.
This is one of the police officers.
It's an elaborate flowchart.
She's the administrative assistant to the president.
Administrative assistant to the president.
Yeah.
Everyone working together to build a yellow bus utopia.
And we're going to care about each other, and we're going to love everybody, right?
I put time, effort, love, care, understanding each and every one of those kids.
Omar.
To show his love and understanding,
hey, Chief.
Curtis gives presents throughout the year.
You say you like baseball.
Each gift personally selected with that child in mind. He gave this girl a t-shirt.
Her first book.
With a picture from a book she made.
I'm hoping this t-shirt inspire her to keep on writing books.
Over the years, he has bought these kids bikes, backpacks, handed out cards on birthdays, and even turkeys at Thanksgiving. He has spent thousands out of his own pocket. And yet, if you ask the kids what they like most about Curtis, the gifts don't even come up.
He helps anyone in need.
Ethan Engel is a 6th grader.
It means a lot to you.
Yeah.
He says the bus ride is often the best part of his day.
My mom got divorced when I was only 4.
See you tomorrow.
He's the father that I always wanted. In some ways, I wish my dad could have been like that.
We make the mistake sometimes of thinking certain jobs are more important than others.
I know.
But Curtis Jenkins made his job important, and in doing so, even created his own salary.
That's the paycheck right there. If I can get that, you can keep the money.
He sought no reward, but after our story first aired, the kindness came back to him nonetheless, when an anonymous viewer reached out to school superintendent Jeannie Stone with a little thank you gift for Curtis.
You're gonna be driving this brand new car!
In addition to the car, she also gave him a promotion. Curtis now teaches others how to have better student relationships. For this old bus driver, 2019 sure proved to be quite a ride. Steve Hartman, on the road in Dallas.
Finally tonight, CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road to a class getting straight A's in imagination.
You may walk to recess.
At the Trinity Leadership School near Dallas, Sonia White's first graders are still flying high.
Come all the way back and walk.
Still reliving their amazing one-day field trip south of the border.
Where are you going?
Mexico.
To Mexico? I love your outfit.
It was my first time on a plane. We went inside a cloud. I saw the ocean.
Is that your first time seeing the ocean?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you've got to be wondering, how could a school afford this? What kind of teacher does it take to fly a class of first graders to Mexico for a day? A very clever one. So just to be clear, you did not go to Mexico.
We did not.
You did not get on a plane.
We did not.
You never left the class.
We did not.
What you're about to see is a testament to the power of imagination and the magic teachers have to harness it.
Okay, let's find out.
After Sonia's students told her their one wish was to fly on a plane, she went full throttle on the pretend.
Boarding pass and your passport, please.
Created travel documents for each child, and then boarded them on their flight to Mexico.
Okay, guys, we are now at 13,000 feet. You may take out a snack.
We had a little turbulence. Boy, it did not scare me. But my friend Lorenzo had a rough landing.
Really? What happened to him?
He was like...
The buy-in really was remarkable.
One of my students saw somebody that night and they said, "What are you doing here? I thought you were in Mexico." And he said, "Yeah, we were. We got back at 3. And that's when I was like, they really think we went to Mexico. I'm writing you from Mexico.
Teachers everywhere could use more resources, but the best always seem to figure out a way to take kids places, often without so much as a bus ride.
Did this fuel your desire for more travel?
Yes. Do you know North Korea?
Yeah, sure.
Probably I do not want to go there next.
I guess even pretend flights come with travel warnings.
Yes.
Steve Hartman, on the road, near Dallas.
Finally tonight, the journey through junior high school can be a long one for some students. CBS's Steve Hartman has a story of one teenager who truly went the distance on the road.
Under St. Louis's other arch lies Harris Stowe State University,
historically black university,
where last month, school president LaTanya Collins Smith awarded a full ride, 4-year scholarship to a boy she just met and knew virtually nothing about.
That kid, that day, it was something that resonated with my spirit.
14-year-old Xavier Jones had started the day on a mission. His grandfather's car wasn't working, and Xavier really wanted to be someplace. So he started walking. 6 miles, 2 hours, through tough neighborhoods, busy traffic, and blazing sun.
At one point, he got so thirsty, he begged someone for $1 to buy something to drink. Thought about turning back, but pressed on. All just so he could walk another 30 feet and collect his 8th grade diploma.
If you really want to get something, then you have to work hard for it.
He wanted to be present. Speaks volumes, Steve. Half the battle is showing up.
So, on the spot, Colin Smith, who just happened to be in the auditorium that day, awarded Xavier a scholarship. Xavier was thrilled, albeit for the wrong reason.
He thought that a full ride meant he would get a ride to college. like that he wouldn't have to walk here again.
Fortunately, he's got 4 years of high school to process what it all means.
With the whole engineering piece that you want to do.
Until then, he plans to keep up his grades, which were already excellent, and keep stoking that fire in his belly.
Okay. It basically comes from who I am and the kind of person that I want to be.
Which is the same kind of person LaTanya Collins Smith wants in her school.
You know, oftentimes at colleges, we spend a lot of time on standardized test scores because that's who you are, right? It's not true.
Sometimes who you are is better measured by how far you've come. Steve Hartman, on the road in St. Louis.
Tonight, CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road with a college basketball coach who gave a big assist to a young cancer patient.
You can't hear him over the crowd, and that may be a good thing, as Auburn University coach Bruce Pearl sneers and snarls his way through yet another basketball game.
You see him on the court being tough and stuff to all the players, but there's a whole totally different side of Bruce outside of basketball, which is a nice, loving, and caring person.
Auburn freshman Sam Cunningham's unique perspective comes from his greatest struggle. When he was 12, Sam was diagnosed with leukemia, and not long after, someone asked Coach Pearl to record a video for him.
You're gonna beat this, son. Cancer? Pick the wrong hombre. Pick the wrong dude to mess with, okay?
It was just real funny to me. Cancer picked the wrong hombre. It picked the wrong dude to mess with. That quote is what I kept with me when I got in my darkest days in the hospital and stuff.
Through all his complications.
You're gonna beat this, son.
Through his relapse.
Pick the wrong hombre.
Through the days that felt like they would be his last.
Pick the wrong dude to mess with.
Sam kept watching that video over and over.
Okay?
Eventually, Coach Pearl delivered the same lines in person.
Pick the wrong dude.
And they became friends. And then one day, Bruce gave him another, even more inspiring message.
Tell you what, you're gonna get better. You're gonna come to Auburn, and you're gonna be my assistant. And he takes me at my word.
He believed it.
He did, and he is.
Today, he is the team manager, and so happy to be here. In fact, Sam says Coach Pearl's encouragement may have saved his life.
That truly healed me. I didn't think I would really get to this point from all the complications I had, so that was pretty amazing. I'm just a miracle to be here right now.
This month, college coaches across the country will be praying for a national championship. But here at Auburn, this coach will be asking for something far more consequential.
In my prayers, it's, God, don't let this thing relapse. Take me. Let Sam live.
Basketball seasons come and go, but great coaching lasts forever. Steve Hartman, on the road in Auburn, Alabama.
CBS's Steve Hartman heads to New England for a real-life Queen's Gambit on the road.
The students at Weatherby Elementary in Hampton, Maine seem peaceful enough, but start a war on this turf. And these rookies, with their night moves, become a royal pawn in the chess to anyone who dares try to dethrone their king. Which is how they became the new Maine State Chess Champions.
It was so, exciting.
Everybody was cheering.
Just feels like you could fly.
A special, 1 in a million.
In fact, the only thing more unlikely than their success is where they found it. Here, in the broom closet.
School custodian David Bishop used to play chess as a kid. So when, years later, he found himself cleaning the hall outside the Weatherby Chess Club, he says he felt drawn, like he had to be part of it.
And at the time, I didn't really have any thought of how to teach. I'd never done that before.
I didn't really think he had a good background for doing it, but he obviously does.
His name's Mr. Bishop, which is pretty cool.
He took over,
And
and here we are.
5-minute game.
Where they are is a community of intensely focused little minds who play like a real kingdom is at stake.
What happens is, yes, there's an attack here.
And although no one here is a master,
The king's coming out way too early.
Mr. Bishop has convinced every last one of them that they have the potential.
What I tell them is, if you love it, you're going to be better than the top player we have. They say, no, that can't be. Yes, if you love it, you'll never give up, and you're going to get better and better as the months and years go by.
Sometimes we make the mistake of thinking our job descriptions are a box, confining who we are and what we do. But David Bishop sees it differently. He says when they told him to make this school shine, they never said how.
I found my purpose.
Steve Hartman, On the Road.
It's a lesson learned.
Near Bangor, Maine. Classes here at Axel Academy in Aurora, Colorado have been out over a week now. But for middle school math teacher Finn Lanning, there's one student he just can't shake. 13-year-old Damien.
Do you know how many pencils I went through this year?
Like way more than you should have?
Yeah.
Damien says Mr. Lanning was definitely one of his better teachers.
When a teacher doesn't bother me over and over again, that's better.
You have a low bar.
Yeah, leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, I'll get my work done.
He's smart and funny, and he was always a student that stood out. And then one day he just came to me and said, I'm not coming back to school.
Finn sat him down at that table, right then and there.
And what I found out was his story.
He learned Damien was in foster care, that he had kidney disease. And because social services couldn't find a foster family willing and able to meet his medical needs, Damien had to leave school and move into a hospital. But here's the real kicker. The kid needs a transplant, desperately. And a lot of times you can't get a transplant if you don't have a stable home to return to after surgery.
It hit me like a ton of bricks. I mean, you just can't sit across from somebody that you care about and hear them say something like that and know that you have room to help.
And that's how Finn became a foster parent. He took in Damien, dialysis needs and all, even though prior to that hallway meeting, he'd been a confirmed bachelor who delighted in his childlessness.
I never thought that I could leave school and take one of them with me and still survive, right?
Damien says, right back at you, bro.
I was like, yes, I'd get out of the hospital, but I was like, my math teacher, out of all the people.
Now, 4 months into it, neither one of them would change a thing. Although Damien says he's not getting too excited just yet.
Rematch?
He's seen fairy tales fall apart before.
It's kind of bad thinking about that, but some people actually do that. They'll just kick you out they'll be happy with you one day and then just kick you out the next.
I suppose only time will let you trust.
Yeah.
Whether he believes it or not doesn't change the fact that I'm not going anywhere.
This is it for him.
Yep.
In fact, Finn says he plans to adopt Damien as soon as possible.
Is that enough pepper?
In the meantime, and much more importantly, because of Finn, Damien got back on the transplant list and just a few hours ago got his new kidney. For a child steeped in disappointment, this is shaping up to be the best Father's Day weekend ever. A new kidney and a dad by his side. Although Finn says that dad title, that's going to take some getting used to.
That role has such meaning attached to it, right? And it's not that I'm not willing to do it, but it feels like you have to earn it in some way.
You did.
Earned it.
I hope so.
And epitomizes it.
That's my favorite.
I love that one.
Steve Hartman, On the Road, in Aurora, Colorado.
We end the week with a ride on a school bus. Destination, happiness. Here's Steve Hartman on the road.
No matter what side of the bed she wakes up on, Jacksonville, Florida school bus driver Arletha Sherman knows her day will always get better.
I mean, I may have a bad morning, but once I see her, it's different.
Miss Sherman!
The turning point is a 5-year-old girl named Anna Hobson.
You are my best friend.
I'm your best friend. Oh, can I have a best hug?
She is the ultimate pick-me-up.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you too. Let's go.
Bye, Dad. Bye, Mom.
Anna was born with a rare, progressive neuromuscular disorder. She's constantly in and out of the hospital.
The fact that she has so much going on in her life, but she's always happy, always bubbly, and she always, "Hi, Miss Sherman," and then we just start communicating.
The parents say they first noticed this bond about a year ago. Anna had missed school one day because she was sick. But that afternoon, the bus came to their house anyway, and the driver came to the door, just checking to make sure Anna was okay.
And I thought, well, she didn't have to do that.
Yep.
But Kathleen Hobson says that was nothing compared to what happened next.
Yummy, Mama.
In April, for Anna's birthday, Arletha bought her a princess dress and a tiara and decorated the whole bus to celebrate.
All she could do was just take her hands up and say, "All this for me." It was just so overwhelming.
Then, just recently, Arletha bestowed on Anna one of the greatest honors a little girl can receive. She invited her to be the flower girl at her wedding. For Anna's mom, this act of kindness was almost too much to bear.
I want her to have as many experiences as she can. So, sorry.
Kathleen went on to say that she always hoped to see her daughter in a wedding. So this night, this sight especially, Anna dancing with her dad, it was such a gift. Any bus driver can take a kid from here to there, but only a special few can deliver a dream come true. Steve Hartman, on the road in Jacksonville, Florida.
CBS's Steve Hartman finds that sometimes the best lessons happen on the bus ride home from school. Here's this week's On the Road.
It was end of day for students at Carter Middle School in Warren, Michigan. But for those on bus 46 that April afternoon, it was the beginning of an unforgettable ordeal.
And all of a sudden, the brakes get slammed.
We all were just terrified and shocked.
And that's when I looked up and saw him.
7th grader Dylan Reeves had grabbed the steering wheel. Soon after, police called the boy's father and stepmother, Steve and Iretta.
"Are you the parent of Dylan Reeves?" And I said, "Yes." And I go, "What do you do?" And he goes, "No, this is a good phone call. Your son's a hero. He stopped the bus."
Stop the bus?
What? What?
The officer went on to explain, and security footage shows how Dylan noticed the driver was having a medical emergency and immediately sprang from his seat.
I just knew what to do in that moment. The bus was swerving off the road.
So Dylan took the wheel, hit the brake, and gained control of the situation, saving driver and students.
Someone call 911.
A true hero, no doubt. But we still had a question. Why didn't anyone else notice what was happening? Well, turns out,
Had my AirPods in.
virtually every kid
I was looking at my phone.
was on a device.
I was on my phone playing a little game.
We hear a lot about the consequences of too much screen time. But one thing I never considered until now is the loss of situational awareness. What's happening around them? And yet somehow, at least one kid on that bus instantly recognized what was happening. Any guesses as to why?
I know why, because my son does not have a cell phone.
And Steve says that's the lesson here.
What else are you going to do when you don't have a phone? You're going to look at people, you're going to notice stuff, you're going to look out the window. It's a very powerful lesson. Maybe change the world kind of lesson, I don't know.
At least a save the bus kind of lesson. And they say reason enough to hold off getting him a phone for another day.
How do you feel about that?
Whatever. My parents are old school,
But for good reason.
I guess.
Sometimes even heroes have it hard. Steve Hartman, on the road, near Detroit. It was billed as the surprise of a lifetime.
Does anybody know what this is about?
And sure enough,
They didn't tell you anything?
when these high school seniors gathered for the big reveal, up walked a guy they'd never seen to tell them something they'd never forget.
Right now, this next minute, is the most important moment of my life.
Pete Cadens is a wealthy businessman. He grew up here in Toledo, Ohio, and he says the time has come to give back.
I think that Toledo could be one of the most equitable middle market communities in this country. And so if you want to make a big difference, you go to the epicenter of inequity.
Scott High School has some of the most disadvantaged students in the state, but the school is still rich with dreams. Kids like senior Chris Rowland, who would love to go to college, but can't afford it, especially now. Last fall, Chris's mom, Abina, lost her job, and his dad died in a house fire.
My dad was the closest person I had in my life. In his later days, he was really pushing me to go to college. He kept saying, "You're really smart, you should think about going."
He was such an awesome father. He's still gonna make him proud. I know he is.
Just got to figure out a path.
Yep.
Fortunately, unbeknownst to Chris, that path to a brighter future was about to find him.
And if you're sitting here in this room today, as a soon-to-be graduating senior, tuition, room and board, books and fees will be paid for you, and you will go to college for free.
And there was more. Because poverty is an intergenerational problem, and because he is determined to snuff it out in this community, Pete offered each kid a study partner.
So too can one of your parents go to college or trade school for free.
Abina says she always wanted to be a school counselor. Altogether, this could cost Pete up to $3 million. And now he wants to get others to pitch in to expand the program to every public school in Toledo.
And this is how we change the world.
Which is why, if you could look up through that gym ceiling, as Chris did, I'm sure you'd see a dad beaming with gratitude. Steve Hartman, on the road in Toledo, Ohio. He's only in 3rd grade, but 9-year-old Henry Boyer of Howell, Michigan already knows what he wants to be. Last fall, he attended his first University of Michigan football game, and he was wowed.
They were that good?
My mind was blown of how good they played.
But it wasn't the football that he fell for. It was the marching band. And from that moment to this, Henry has been rocking out to their CD.
Let's go Blue!
And watching old halftime shows on YouTube. He even wrote a letter to the band saying how he'd love to sign up someday. In response, they sent him a bunch of swag and a card, inviting him to audition when he's old enough.
I just really liked the card.
What were you feeling in that moment?
Surprised and heartwarmed.
His mother got it on video.
What did they say?
They said they going to accept me in a few years.
Into what?
Into the marching band.
Are you excited?
Yes, I'm really excited.
That was nice of them, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff and Kim Boyer.
Yeah, I mean, just such a simple act to reach back out to him. It's changed his world.
Well, yeah, he's on fire for music now.
Henry asked if he could double up on piano lessons and started taking drums too.
Like the card said, practice hard and I will practice hard.
So you can get there someday.
Yes. I just have a really good feeling that I'm going to be in the marching band.
If all goes as planned, Henry will join the band in the fall of 2029. But we thought, and the school agreed, that's an awfully long time to wait for a dream to come true. So we set up a little surprise right behind this door.
No way.
Henry, this is your Michigan marching band.
No way. Oh.
We're so excited to have you here with us, Henry.
I can't believe I'm here.
The Michigan Marching Band wrote out a single note, and just look at the symphony that followed.
You got it.
A masterpiece of kindness and inspiration that struck a major chord in this young man's life. So now, hopefully, no matter where his music takes him, Henry will always follow the lead of this marching band and play it forward.
Nice job.
Steve Hartman, on the road.
You guys have the best music ever.
In Ann Arbor, Michigan.
I can't wait to join.
Oh, yeah. It'll come soon.
This is hardly Alcatraz, but for a kid on Cuttyhunk Island in Massachusetts, going to school here can sometimes feel like solitary. 13-year-old Gwen Lynch is the only student in a one-room schoolhouse, It's just her and her teacher, Miss Carvalho.
One nation.
You won't find a smaller school anywhere in these United States.
Justice for all. Happy Wednesday.
Gwen has lived on the island her entire life. There were other kids, including her older brother, but everyone else is gone, leaving Gwen to make the most of her solo situation.
We've done plays.
How could you do a play?
A lot of different parts.
You played all the parts?
Oh, yeah.
Did everybody in town come?
Yeah.
So it's pretty empty in there.
Yeah. There was like 12.
That's it.
Yeah.
12. That's the year-round population of Cuttyhunk. The place is mostly a summer vacation destination now, although this week the census swelled tenfold. Friends and family flocking to witness Cuttyhunk Elementary's last graduation ever. After today, the school built in 1873 to teach fishermen kids will close due to zero enrollment. But that little school went out big. They got comedian and actress Jenny Slate to do the commencement address.
I somehow thought that you would be out here churning butter wearing a pinafore and a hoop skirt.
Next fall, Gwen will go to a boarding high school on the mainland.
I'm so excited. Even though it's a smaller school, I still...
Wait, no, it's not. What do you mean it's a smaller school?
Compared to other high schools.
But still, that's going to be a huge change.
Yeah.
How are you going to deal with that?
I'm gonna love it. But really just to see like other people besides my mother and father, like every single day of my life.
She is ready to soar.
These are the boars she's referencing. Dwayne and Lexi say their daughter has been asking to leave this island since she was 8. Although as far as they're concerned, Gwen had an idyllic childhood, and they're confident someday she'll appreciate it.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't thank my mother for anything until I was probably 25, but I thank her all the time now.
Maybe it'll be in the speech today.
Here's to hoping.
But from our interview, I don't think she's ready.
Then again, graduations demand reflection, and it's almost impossible to celebrate the opportunities that lie ahead without recognizing, often for the first time, the opportunities behind.
Thank you for raising me. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for giving me the best beginning a child could ask for.
A class of one, but a message for every parent of every 2019 graduate. Steve Hartman, out to sea on Cuttyhunk Island, Massachusetts.
Finally tonight, a lesson in never giving up, even when it seems the odds are stacked against you. Need proof? CBS's Steve Hartman found it on the road.
Technically, 13-year-old Josiah Johnson of Louisville, Kentucky, has a disability.
Hi, Zaire.
But almost no one sees it because Josiah doesn't see it. Although born without legs, the kid has yet to find his kryptonite. Always did everything the other kids did. But that invincibility was put to the test last fall when Josiah decided to try out for the one sport where altitude is everything: the Moore Middle School basketball team.
At this point, you may be wondering, why didn't he just join a wheelchair basketball team? It would certainly be a lot easier. Well, Josiah says, exactly.
It was easy. It was too easy.
You wanted more of a challenge?
Yeah.
The gumption it takes to be able to say, I'm going to go out and do that. Who has that kind of confidence?
Me.
But his mother Whitney says it's not just confidence, it's stubbornness.
Josiah is very competitive, and if he feels like something is too easy, he's not going to do it.
Still, Josiah knew making the team was a long shot. Fortunately, though, Josiah turned out to be pretty good at long shots. He made the team on his merits. And over the last few months has become a real contributor, getting offensive rebounds, assists, and because of his unique position on the floor, he has caused more than a few turnovers.
He started taking the ball from people. He took the ball from me. I was mad. You would have thought Steph Curry was in the gym.
But his teammates say his best play was a couple weeks ago.
It was just a moment that I'm going to remember for like ever.
It was the end of the game, seconds remaining. Josiah shoots from 3. And again, his disability disappeared.
What do you want people to take away from this?
To do something that they thought they couldn't do.
Josiah Johnson, inspiration and proof that all you need to stand above is confidence. Steve Hartman, on the road in Louisville, Kentucky.
Finally tonight, Harvard Law School is considered to be one of the most prestigious academic institutions in the world. CBS's Steve Hartman introduces us to one of its newest graduates on the road.
No one has ever attended Harvard Law School for its sparkling glass doors or smudge-free countertops. In fact, support staff here say most students never even notice their efforts, with one remarkable exception.
He says, just want to give you a hug and, say hi to you.
They say one day, this one student started thanking all of them.
Thank you for what you do.
And this is something very different.
I'm like, what is this kid's angle?
Food service worker Breon Merchant was skeptical.
Before that, but once I heard his background, that's when it just all made sense. I'm like, oh, you see us because you're one of us. For sure.
That student is Rehan Staton. Before coming to Harvard Law, he worked in sanitation.
My job was to refurbish the dumpsters. I've heard people literally point to me and point to my coworker and say, like, don't be like them. I think it just reminds me to stay humble and just remember I wasn't always standing here.
Today, Rehan has not only maintained his humility, he has multiplied it.
Earlier this year, Rehan started a nonprofit called the Reciprocity Effect. Its mission? To guarantee that from now on and forever, the support staff here at Harvard Law would not only be seen, they would be celebrated. This was the first support staff awards banquet, honoring in Oscar-like fashion the custodians and cafeteria workers and everyone else who makes this place possible.
The feeling of knowing that you are appreciated will always go a long way, especially for those who don't know that. I think that's what makes what Rehan did so special, is because you didn't even realize how unseen you were until you were seen. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is kind of nice.
Rehan Staton.
In the coming days, a lot of graduates will stand high on a stage, a great vantage point, to finally see all the people who lifted them there.
You did it!
Steve Hartman, on the road in Cambridge, Massachusetts. 49-year-old John Raines is living on borrowed time. He has terminal brain cancer, and doctors told him a year and a half ago that he had about a year to live.
What keeps you going?
Blake. He was 5 months premature when he was born. They didn't know if he was going to even breathe. He's been special his whole life.
John's only son, Blake, goes to Billings West High School in Billings, Montana. He's a senior, which is why John wanted to make it to May, at least.
So I can see my kid graduate. What parent doesn't want to see it?
That's a huge milestone in a kid's life.
Pam Rudolph, Blake's mom and John's ex-wife, says there was no guarantee he'd live that long.
Yeah, that's when I realized we have to do something.
What Pam did was reach out to the principal at Billings West to arrange a surprise for her ex-husband. She made up an excuse to lure him to the school and into the auditorium.
He didn't have any idea the band would be playing, and this was really happening just for him and for Blake.
It was a graduation of one, staged for this audience of one.
I started thinking about everything, how much time I had, what I could do. I'm just gonna spend as much time with them as I can.
Blake will still have to finish out the school year, but the milestone has now been marked, the memory sealed.
When I got my diploma and I went down and hugged him, it just felt so good. It's probably the best hug he's ever given me.
Best day of my life.
How can the best day of your life be when you're dying?
People will make you happy.
The power of a kind deed.
Real happy.
Can overcome even the worst of fates.
My ex-wife coming through like that.
And John says that's the lesson in this moment, that we're all terminal. We just need to treat each other like we know it. Steve Hartman, on the road, in Billings, Montana.
We're going to end the week at a school where the students have an important lesson for us all. Here's Steve Hartman on the road.
Ready for cookies?
6-year-old Maury Belanger has a severe hearing impairment, but she's also very much a typical kid. Which is why, when it came time for kindergarten, her parents, Shannon and Matt, were torn. Send her to a school for the deaf?
Yeah, eggs.
Or to the public school here in Dayton, Maine, which was close and convenient.
Okay.
Unfortunately, at the public school, there weren't any other kids like Maury, and support was minimal.
You always think of the bad things, like, are they gonna make fun of her or...
Her fitting in.
Thankfully, we made the right choice.
You can guess what they decided. Or can you? Believe it or not, this is Dayton Consolidated Elementary, the public school, where talking like Maury has become all the rage.
You guys practice sign language? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kids here at Dayton have learned multiple things of sign language, so like door, window, carrot, quiet, funny, sad.
What's that? That's not a sign.
I like to do it.
I like to do it too, but it's not a sign.
Obviously, they're not fluent yet. But about a third of the kids here know enough to navigate a kindergarten conversation. Like when Maury didn't notice the line was moving. The girl in the pink told her to walk, followed by the universal sign for, way to go, Maury.
And it's not like the administration is mandating this. There is no sign language curriculum. This is bottom-up kindness. Students motivated by nothing more than their own deep desire to connect with this one little girl.
What they know, they learn mostly from posters, books, watching Maury's aid, and teaching each other.
They want to do as much as they can for her. We want her to feel comfortable and safe and be able to kind of make friends with her. It's like if you got a gift basket, that's what she is, a little gift basket. Flowers and chocolate, just a little bundle of joy.
Eventually, Maury's parents say their daughter may need more support services, but they believe all she needs now is what she has here, a loving community.
To know that people just accept her for how she is, she's just gonna succeed because of being at that school.
There are signs of that already. Steve Hartman, on the road, in Dayton, Maine. A good teacher will do almost anything for a student.
All right, so we're good so far.
But few have gone so far as Donna Hoagland, teacher at Marsh Point Elementary in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
Not two tooths.
It all started when Donna noticed a change in one of her fourth graders, Troy Volk.
And it did affect his morning behavior. He was just shut down at times.
She suspected there was a reason.
She suspected there was something going on. So she asked me if anything had changed at home.
This is Troy's mother, Anahita. She told Donna the truth, that for the past year she's been in stage 5 kidney failure.
You okay, babe?
Pain.
She has this severe pain almost daily. And because she has a rare blood type, the odds of finding a kidney donor are slim.
When my parents told me about the kidney failing stuff, I was getting a little down.
What was your worst fear?
My mom not getting a kidney ever.
As you can see, Troy has tried to keep a brave front. Fortunately, he found a friend in Donna.
I really just hate it.
No, buddy.
She's been there for him, every step of the way.
To think what he must go through, seeing his mom being sick all the time, that's not fair.
And you felt like you could fix that.
I can.
Turns out Donna has the same rare blood type. So, unbeknownst to Troy's family, she spent months researching how to become a kidney donor, and then called up Anahita for the best parent-teacher conference of all time.
I'm like, what are you talking about? She turns around and she's like, we're a match.
How do you say thank you?
You can't. You really can't.
The transplant happened over Christmas break, and today everyone is doing well. Donor, recipient, and the boy they both cherish.
The one thing I love about my mom's kidney transplant
What's that?
is that we all get a gift, the same gift. It's not a gift that can be wrapped in a present. It's like a miracle. A perfect match is a miracle.
Of course, the other miracle is Donna and teachers like her.
What's up?
Who love our children as their own.
Cheers for Mommy's new kidney.
No, they don't all give up their kidneys, but make no mistake, teachers save us parents every day. Steve Hartman, on the road in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road to an elementary school in Maine where the biggest trend isn't on the students' phones, it's in their closets.
Most 8-year-old boys don't get dressed to the nines. To them, suits are for bathing, and formal is a 4-letter word. But James Ramage of Chelsea, Maine loves to dress for 3rd grade success. He started a couple years ago, and at first, the other kids didn't know what to think.
Every time I saw him, I was just like, okay. And I'm like, why is he dressing up?
James knew he stood out.
Did you just decide one day, I don't care what other people are wearing?
I don't need to look like them anymore. I can be who I want to be.
In any school, a decision like that can go a few different ways. You can be accepted for who you are, ostracized for who you aren't, or, in very rare circumstances, you can become a trendsetter.
It just kind of started.
Then more people started to do it.
Because it looked fun, and now people absolutely love it.
Today, once a week, Chelsea Elementary kids put on their finest for Dapper Wednesday. It's not a dress code. It's not because some adult said so. It's because the children chose so.
Nice dresses.
Teacher Dean Paquette was an early adopter and now an avid advocate.
Holy stop, look at this. You look awesome.
Being dressed up, kids are different.
It is.
I think it's a self-esteem thing, and then it carries with them all the way through the day.
All right.
The kids agree. Told me they love how it feels.
I'm a little itchy, but it's fine.
Figuratively speaking.
It feels like I'm not a kid anymore. It made me feel like I was ready for the day. It feels like I'm like a president.
When James started all this, he had no idea the impact.
What's it like to be a trendsetter?
It just feels so nice.
But he doesn't think every kid should wear suits. Just whatever suits them.
Just wear what they want to wear.
Self-confidence. Always a good look. Steve Hartman, on the road in Chelsea, Maine.
You may walk to recess.
At the Trinity Leadership School near Dallas, Sonia White's first graders were flying high.
Come all the way back and walk.
Because, as we first reported a few months ago, they had just taken an amazing field trip.
Where are you going?
Mexico.
To Mexico? I love your outfit.
It was my first time on a plane. We went inside a cloud. I saw the ocean.
Is that your first time seeing the ocean?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, you've got to be wondering, how could a school afford this? What kind of teacher does it take to fly a class of first graders to Mexico for a day? A very clever one. So just to be clear, you did not go to Mexico.
We did not.
You did not get on a plane.
We did not.
You never left the class.
We did not.
What you're about to see is a testament to the power of imagination and the magic teachers have to harness it.
Okay, let's find out.
After Sonia's students told her their one wish was to fly on a plane, she went full throttle on the pretend.
Your boarding pass and your passport, please.
Created travel documents for each child, and then boarded them on their flight to Mexico.
Okay, guys, we are now at 13,000 feet. You may take out a snack.
We had a little turbulence. Boy, it did not scare me. But my friend Lorenzo had a rough landing.
Really? What happened to him?
He was like...
The buy-in really was remarkable.
One of my students saw somebody that night and they said, "What are you doing here? I thought you were in Mexico." And he said, "Yeah, we were. We got back at 3. And that's when I was like, they really think we went to Mexico.
After we first told that story, Southwest Airlines invited the class to its Dallas headquarters to step inside a real plane.
Welcome aboard.
Experience tray tables and safety cards, and begin to wonder where in the world their imaginations might take them next.
Did this fuel your desire for more travel?
Yes. Do you know North Korea?
Yeah, sure.
Probably I do not want to go to next.
I guess even pretend flights come with travel warnings.
Yes.
Steve Hartman, on the road, near Dallas. The red caps were the only clue. The only hint that something Christmas was afoot.
Here we go.
Something that would soon strike straight to the heart.
Are you guys serious?
Seriously?
The kids responsible for these moments of overwhelming joy are all students and former students of Derek Brown.
Also, lights, please.
A Phoenix elementary teacher who uses our on-the-road stories to teach kindness and character. A perennial favorite,
Merry Christmas.
Secret Santa. That wealthy businessman who every year gives out hundreds of $100 bills to random strangers.
It's impossible. This is impossible.
It is possible. It's true.
Watching Secret Santa do his thing
Crazy.
made a huge impression on the kids.
I was like shocked because, well, who does that? I've never seen anyone like just give money away like that.
Could you imagine that someday it would be you?
No, not ever.
And so, with guidance from Mr. Brown,
I sent everybody an itinerary.
the kids started a Secret Santa club and began fundraising, calling friends, family, and businesses. They raised $8,000 without any help from their school or district, just so they could turn around and give it all away.
It's okay.
To people like Rosemarie Hernandez. Rosemarie had been out of work for a week.
You will give me a lot of relief. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys. Oh my God.
They also gave money to Deidre Taylor.
Oh my God.
Deidre had just gotten diagnosed with cancer and was down to her last $20.
You guys are amazing. Gracias.
The children spent the day changing dozens of lives. And along the way, they noticed something remarkable, that the more they gave, the more they got.
I'm so happy right now. You get so many feelings in your body that just makes you like want to do it again.
Their joy, that's the gift to you.
Their joy, that's the gift to you. Exactly the realization Mr. Brown was hoping for.
I want this memory to be so strong that it now drives them every day in everything they do.
Did today change you?
Definitely. I never felt this way in my life. So this was really a life changer for me.
Whoever said money can't buy happiness, obviously, never gave it away. Steve Hartman, on the road, in Phoenix.
God bless you too.
For Charlie and Dorothy Hale of Rochester, New York, every day is like Christmas morning.
Ooh.
Bright, shiny woodwinds and worn-out old brass. Brown cardboard packages tied up with strings. Used musical instruments are their favorite things.
This just came from FedEx.
They show up all day without intermission.
That's a big one.
And each piece in some form of disrepair.
Oops, I told you it had some problems.
They started out buying these broken instruments a few years ago after Dorothy took a class in instrument repair.
I always loved to take things apart. And it's about time I learned how to put something together. I put shellac on that.
Dorothy, a retired chemist, and Charlie, a retired doctor, are both now in their 80s, but still very active in this passion, to restore musical instruments to their former glory and then give them away by the hundreds. So far, the Hales have donated nearly 1,000 instruments to the Rochester School District. Allison Schmidt is the lead teacher for the arts department.
Can everybody play an instrument here who wants to?
Absolutely. It's unbelievable for two humans to care so much about other people's children.
Allison says the impact has been huge, but it was interesting. When I tried to talk to the Hales about this, they seemed downright oblivious.
I have no doubt you've changed lives. And that to me is you don't think so?
No, I don't.
They're ripples of effect, I hope,
Ripples? Sophomore William Delgado says it's more like tidal waves.
Really, music has and can create somebody. And it created me.
Studies consistently show that music education helps kids do better in school overall, if for no other reason than it makes them want to attend.
I wish you could be there every time I get to hand an instrument to a student and their eyes light up.
Fortunately, the Hales are now starting to understand.
If I could thank you every single day of my life, I would.
As we go into the holidays, it's good to remember that there is no greater gift than simply telling someone just how important they really are. Steve Hartman, on the road in Rochester, New York.